Welcome back to Touch Base with myself, Zara Nirvana. Today I have the lovely Genesis Elijah on the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Cool.
How have you been?
I'm good, I'm well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Just, you know what I mean? Music, making music, putting out music, and just trying to prepare for next year really.
Okay, what have you got planned for next year?
Next year, obviously more music. Wanna try to do more TV stuff as well.
Okay, nice.
So I think, like every other year, I just want to level up. So next year, I want to hopefully do what I did this year, but more of it and better quality.
Okay, are you able to give us a bit of intel on the TV stuff?
It's really early days, but I've just started writing like a few, like a kind of a comedy drama.
Okay.
So yeah, I've started writing that. And it's super early days, like literally just finished one of the scripts. So I'm gonna shop that around, try and get a few people to help me out with it, because I have no idea what I'm doing. So that's what I'm really excited about for next year.
Nice.
So that's really what I've been doing recently.
Is that something you've always planned to do, or is that something that you stumbled across?
I think it's something I've always wanted to do, but it was never, I didn't really understand or know if it was an option. So now I've kind of got to a place where I know a lot of people who have done similar things. So I'm like, let me see if I could, you know what I mean, just go through it, try and take some risk. I don't know if it's going to work, but my theory is, let's just try it. Let's just jump, grow wings on the way down and see what happens. So that's where I'm at the moment. Yeah.
So in terms of you, so this is something you're going to need like a team to put together.
Yeah.
Are you quite like would you say you're an introvert or an extrovert when it comes to like networking and stuff?
I'm kind of in the middle, I'm a bit of both, man. Like I would say I don't work well with others, only because I'm like a control freak. But at the same time, I understand that with different projects, you kind of have to have different strengths. And I feel, with music, I feel like I know it inside, outside, so I can be a control freak because I know exactly how it's supposed to be. Moving into like a different field, I'm a lot more willing to give over control because there's loads of things I don't know. So in that situation, I'm more willing to be like, okay, I've done this part of it, you guys do this part, and we'll just work as a team and see what happens. So at the moment, yeah, that's where we're going with it.
Okay, nice. And you said, like, in terms of music, you're used to like yourself doing everything, controlling everything. Is that are you an independent artist?
100%.
Yeah. In what ways, like, what are the pros and cons of doing that? Of you having everything, basically all aspects you're controlling yourself.
Alright, so the pros are, it means that I don't have to worry about anything. I do from lyrics, recording, production, music videos, artwork, everything. That's me. That's cool. It means I'm in control of everything, but then it takes a little bit longer, and it's a little bit harder to do. There's a phrase that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So having a team is amazing. Over the years, I've kind of got little bits and pieces. I've kind of built up a little bit of a team, and it works way more efficiently. But at the same time, there's still a lot of things I do myself. Like, a lot of people say they're independent, but they ain't. Like, yeah, okay, you're independent in a way, but I'm truly independent. I'm doing everything myself. So it's a different look, it's a different feel. But there are lots of pros and cons, but I think the main con is just not having that power behind you to really move as far as I would like to go.
And these people that like you would work in a team with, is this like, are some of them friends, or are you someone that wouldn't like to mix like friends with business, or what do you think of that?
Do you know what? I'm the opposite, man. I can't do business with people that aren't my friends. Like, they have to be, we gotta be cool. Like, I can't work with people that, for the most part, that I'm just can't really vibe with. So I would class the people in my team at the moment, I will class them as my best friends, because that's just the way I work best with. I don't really want to work with anyone I'm not cool with that way. And I know people say that money and blood don't mix, but for me, if you're truly family or you're truly friends, then you're always going to want the best interest for that person. And I try to work that way. I always try to make sure that if I'm cutting the pie, everybody else eats first, I eat last all the time. That's the way I want to do it. I want to make sure that if you're working with me, it's the best for you. You're getting the best out of it, because what happens then is when we're ready to do the next project, you're like, cool, I'm ready to go again. Yeah. So to me, that's the way it works best. I feel like the reason why business and friends don't mix is if you're trying to like undercut people. You're trying to do things like, you're trying to do mates rates. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like, oh, we're friends, man, do this for cheap, innit? It's like, no. If that's your friend, pay double. Like, you know what I mean? You should want them to have the best and be able to do the best. So I feel that's where the conflict of interest comes in.
In terms of like friends and people that have kind of like come with you on this journey, did you grow up with people in the music industry? What was it like pursuing music?
No, I didn't, man. But do you know what it was? I feel like the majority of my friends now, I met them through music.
Okay.
So that's just the way it's always been. My daughter's godfathers, I met them through music. We are best friends now. Just went to my boy's wedding, and obviously they came to mine. But we met through music. So it's that whole thing of this is the entry level of me being cool with someone, is you got to be in the industry. After that, we can just build. You know what I mean? So we've got that kind of foundation. Yeah. So it's always just worked that way for me. I don't really have like free time in my spare time. I like to do music.
Yeah, so you basically want friends where everything you're doing is always productive, it's always working towards the bigger goal and stuff like that.
100%. When I was a kid, I wasn't one of the people to be like hanging out in the park drinking. That's never been my thing. I've always been, if I'm chilling, I want to be doing something productive. Like that's how I want to chill, regardless of, and that's been me from whatever age I've been. So they're the kind of people I want to be around. I want to be around the kind of people who their downtime is thinking of ideas like, yo, what can we do next, and how can we build this product, and how can we make this project better? Like they're the kind of people I want to hang around with.
So you mentioned like when you were younger. So do you want to just like give us a sort of picture of your upbringing, where you grew up, what was it like?
My upbringing was a little bit. Actually, no, it was kind of wild, but it wasn't really. It's just everyone kind of went through similar things. But so I was born in Brixton, South London. My dad was a teacher and a preacher. My mum at the time was a librarian. And so I lived in Brixton till I was 11 years old. Then I moved to Luton. Luton's crazy, as you know. So I was there up until maybe 18. And then I moved to Watford. Had my daughter. And I've been here ever since. But I kind of grew up wanting to be a rapper. So from the age of 10, 11, like that's what I wanted. Really, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to be. By the time I hit 18, I was like, right, this is it. Seriously, this is what I want my life to be. So that was always the plan. It hasn't been. It didn't go according to plan, but it's getting there. You know what I mean? It's like it took a little bit longer because I had to learn a lot of things. But at the same time, it's been an amazing journey. I've met a lot of good people on the way. The journey's far from finished, and every corner I turn, I see something new, and it takes me to a different place. So there's a lot of things that I've done, being an artist, that I wouldn't have been able to do in any other way. Like I've travelled the world, I've performed in so many different countries, I've seen places that I never would have seen without music. I've met people I never would have met without music, and done some crazy stuff. So it's been an amazing journey.
Great to hear. So what were you said your dad was a preacher and a teacher, your mum was a librarian. How did that impact you in terms of what you wanted to do? Were they supportive? What was it like growing up?
For my dad, education is everything. So school, that's what you need to be focused
Jamaican,
on.
right?
Yeah. Me, I was not interested in school at all. So I've never been interested in, I'd say, institutional learning. That's never been my thing. So we were always at odds with that. I think what it boils down to with parents is they want to see you successful, happy. They don't want to see you waste your life or your talent. And I think growing up, my parents didn't realise what I could do with music. So it wasn't until I was a little bit older that my dad started seeing, you know what I mean, I'm flying out every other week, I'm doing different things. And
Did
it's like,
they kind of want you to do kind of like safer options of life, or is that what it was? Or
do you know what? I have no idea. Like to this day, I don't know what my parents wanted me to do or what they wanted me to be. My mum I've probably never had a conversation with her. All my dad wanted me to do was get your master's degree. That was my dad's. That was his thing.
Did you do it?
Nah,
No.
I didn't get my master's degree. Didn't get my degree. I didn't get my GCSEs. Like my dad tried to bribe me, so he was like, "Listen, for every GCSE you get, I'm gonna give you £500." I didn't even turn up to them, man. I was just like, nah, because to me, like I already had my life was already planned out. So my thing was originally when I was like real young, I played basketball. So I'm like, I want to play NBA. That's what I'm gonna do. NBA didn't work out, but then I was like, I'm gonna rap. So I need GCSEs for. I'm gonna rap. And in hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea, but I'm hard-headed and I'm the kind of person who I don't want a plan B. I want plan A, and that's it. I want that feeling of if I fail, I'm really gonna fall. Like I need that desperation.
That focus,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So that's what I needed, and I think now having kids, the way I see things is I'm way more chilled. I'm just like, do what you want to do. Like, what do you just find the thing that makes you happy, and that's where you're going to be happiest. That's where you're going to be the most productive. So I always feel like my parents did the best they could from their understanding, but really what they should have done was said, okay, this is your focus, so we're going to push you towards that. So when basketball was my focus, what they should have done was, cool, we're going to figure out like what's the steps you need to take to be the best in this. So to make sure you're going to the best, you got the best coach, the best trainers, the best, all this kind of stuff. Like to me, that's what I would have done. And that's what with my kids I try to do. Like, what do you want to do? Whatever you want to do, I'm gonna help you.
Yeah.
Like, let's do that.
I think with a lot of people, the reason why they don't push their kids to do certain things is because they lack the self-belief in themselves. So they can't go as far as seeing their kids doing something so different from something they can't do.
I think with my parents, it wasn't even that. Like, because my dad, in his own field, is a big deal and casts a big shadow. So my dad is like, I would say I'm the quiet version of my dad, innit? And I'm loud as hell. So like, my dad, he's a powerful figure in what he does. I think with him, it was just a case of, I want you to be realistic with your choices. Like, be realistic with what you do, and understand that you're going to have to support a family at some point. I don't want you to be a waste man. Like, you need to be on a good path. Not understanding that, if I do this right, this path is a good path, you know. But it's a risk, guys. It's a risk, but then everything's a risk. We've seen that people who have really good jobs had amazing jobs. Pandemic gone, your job's gone. So what happened now? You're in the same spot you would have been in. Exactly. Like, it doesn't matter now. Just do what makes you happy.
So, in terms of like your dad's influence on you as a preacher, did you have like religion as something as a big part of you growing up? Is it something you're practicing now? What's your take on it?
Not practicing now, but religion was my life from the age of 0 to, I'd say 16. I probably stopped going to church. Okay. Like properly.
What were the reasons for that?
You just kind of grow out of things. For me anyway, like Sunday, I can't be at church Sunday because I was out Saturday night, innit? Like, I've got stuff to do. And that's when I moved out of my house. So when I was living at home, Sunday you're going to church. Don't care where you were the night before, you live under my roof, you go to church. And I feel like maybe it was forced a bit too much. So as soon as we were allowed out of that situation, we're like, I ain't never coming back to church. So, but as far as like the morals, that's always going to be there. Like, there's certain things that are just in you regardless of how far you go. My dad always says, like, because of what's instilled in you, there's only so far you're going to move from this moral compass. So regardless if you believe in God or whatever, you're always going to have this get this thing inside you that's going to stop you from going too far left or too far right. And I think it's still there. It took me a long time to kind of even have the idea of I don't believe it, be like an atheist.
Yeah.
And I don't feel comfortable saying that now. Like it don't feel right
don't
to
sit
me.
with you, yeah,
nah,
yeah.
but like so I could say intellectually and say no, I don't believe in God. But in my soul, like there's something in the back of my head going, yeah, I watch. You know what I mean? Like the lightning strike you when you walk out of the building.
I get you. So back to the music. Obviously, your name is actually Genesis Elijah. Is that a reference to religion?
It is, you know, but like because so when I first started rapping, I was still in church.
Okay.
So like the Genesis is a cool sounding name at the time. I think I was 15 when I came up with the name. So Genesis, that's what it was. When I got a bit older, so maybe I think I was like maybe 19. There's so many things called Genesis, so I needed to kind of differentiate what I was. So Elijah came in as well. Like, I used to always love the name Elijah, so that was the name that I chose. And then it kind of created meaning around that name. So people would always ask me that, Genesis Elijah, like, where'd you get that name from? And I'd be like, you know, it just came to me. And then kind of more thinking about the kind of mythology or anthology of what the name means. Like Genesis is the beginning, and Elijah has no ending. So Elijah was in the Bible was the only man to never die. Well, no, it was two guys who never died, but he was one of them. So it's like it has a beginning but no ending. So that's what Genesis Elijah means.
Deep.
Yeah.
Okay, so when was it that you said you created the name was when you were like 15?
Yeah.
And that's when you started rapping?
I was rapping before that. So
okay.
I think my first rap name was this. My real name is Nathaniel, yeah. So my first rap name was this N-A-T-T.
Okay.
And the reason that was because Snoop was the D-O-G, right? So when Snoop dropped, I was like, yeah, I got to go with that, man, the N-A-T-T. So I had that for a little while. Then I think I was called Ghost for a bit. Then I was called Nemesis.
Okay.
So Nemesis was probably from the age of like maybe 12, 13. And then Alton Towers came with a ride called Nemesis. And I was just like, oh, it just messed up my whole flex. Like, so then that's when it changed. I was like, Genesis would work. And that's kind of when I switched it to that.
Okay. Yeah. And with those change of names, was it like different seasons of your life? Was it you rebranding yourself? Were you the same? Like, what was it like?
I was like 11, 12, 13.
Yeah.
I wasn't doing nothing. All I was doing was just rapping. I was stealing maths books from school to write, or English books to write my raps. And my raps were about nothing. So I was just literally just copying styles of like Snoop and Wu-Tang and like, I guess at that time, you're kind of trying to find your voice. You're trying to find your identity, and not just as an artist, as a person. So I'm a kid. So I remember having all I knew was I used to love gangster rap. I want to rap. I want that gangster style of rap. So I have loads of swearing in my raps and stuff. And I remember one time I came home. I think I was away at my cousins or something. I came home. And Mum had tidied my room, and she was like, "Nathaniel,
what's it?
I found these rap books, these books with all this swearing in." And I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, throw them all in the bin. I was like, oh man, like literally like 3 years worth of like writing, she just binned it. And looking back at that year, I always thought like that was a mistake. Because what you had there, yeah, you had like the thoughts of your like 12-year-old just like becoming a teenager. Like what's like, forget the swearing, what's in between it? Like what's going on with this kid? And I always felt like she missed the trick there, but you know what I mean? It's one of those things where you don't look at the negative space, you're just looking at the image. So she threw those away. And after that, I kind of learnt to not swear as much in my raps, or at least find a bit of hiding place.
So I like personally could see, you know, I scrolled right to the bottom of your YouTube videos and saw like I think one of your first videos like 11 years ago. And you do your whole kind of like aura and demeanour is very different. Would you say that you've come away from that kind of like gangster rap now? How would you say your music's evolved over time?
My music's evolved with me. So if you look at like the first stuff that like on YouTube and the things that I'm writing, I'm kind of writing from the viewpoint of a more angry young person. So as you get older, you kind of mellow with it, or you're more self-aware. So you understand like how things are taken and how things look. When I was younger, I didn't care. So I would say anything and do whatever, not understanding how you're gonna take it. I'm just trying to do me, which is cool. Like you have to have that season of kind of self-awareness where you are just, it's a stream of consciousness. You're just saying whatever comes to mind and doing whatever. But then you get to a level where you're kind of, you don't have to show every side to every person. There's times where I still write songs where I'm super angry and super maybe like more overtly violent lyrics or whatever. But that's me as a person. It is why I'm in it. Like, but again, not everything has to be that. And you know what's really funny? So, maybe like 5 years ago, maybe longer than that, maybe 10 years ago, I had this guy, you know, like you do little diss tracks or whatever. Yeah. So this guy dissed me in this song, yeah, and he said, every song you make, all you're doing is shouting. And I was like, yeah, you're kind of right, you know. Like that's a diss shit. You're trying to be hurtful to me, but I'm like,
but you see it.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? You're kind of right. Like everything doesn't have to be like a screaming match. Like sometimes you can just chill. And I took that to heart and just was like, yeah, let me just be more varied in what I do. And I feel like that's really helped me, because what it does, it kind of forces you out of your comfort zone and it forces you to use other emotions. Like I said, I came up listening to Snoop, Wu-Tang, Ice Cube and gangster rap, and what that is, the main emotion with that is anger. Cool, it looks cool, man. It's like you're saying things, you see these guys now with drill, like it's a lot of angry stuff. Cool, it looks cool, sounds cool, but that's not just you, there's other sides to you. Like I don't care who you talk about, who's rapping the baddest. It could be Heady One. Trust me, Heady One cries sometimes. Like sometimes he's sad. Like everybody is like that.
I always say like the human experience is very complex. Like
100%.
No one is stuck in one state or emotion, so it's good that you can express that through your music. Yeah,
but I guess it took a long time for me to get comfortable with that.
It's like vulnerability, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I hate that word and I hate that feeling. I hate everything about it. But it's real. It's like there is a point where it has to be that, and like that's why even with the latest album, with the last album, it starts the way it starts, because I wanted to hit you with like a super gut punch straight off the bat. This is me at my darkest, lowest point. So that's the reason I came in with that energy. But I wouldn't have done that 10 years ago. Like, you would never have got. I would have given you a little bit, but I wouldn't have gone as deep as I did. And even if I did, it wouldn't have been as honest. It would have been, I'm doing it because I want you to feel this emotion. When I wrote that song, when I wrote Breakdown, it wasn't because I want you to feel an emotion. I'm just telling you what I feel. I don't care what you feel. This is what I feel right now. If you relate to it, you relate to it. So again, that's something that I don't think I would have had, like I say, 10 years ago.
Yeah, I can definitely like see even from some of your like YouTube comments, you've got fans that are basically saying you've made an impact on them in some of their darkest moments in life. So how do you feel that the fans of what you've seen like on your YouTube comments or what people have said to you, how do you feel that their reaction to you changing from that very aggressive, angry kind of tone to developing and changing as an artist? Have they, they've been supportive of that, or have you had any backlash towards that?
It goes both ways, So there's certain people. I would say there's two kind of fans of my music. So there's the fans who are fans of just the music, and there are people who are fans of me as a person. So the fans who are fans of just the music, a lot of times what I get from them is, bruv, like, you know what I mean? I like new stuff, yeah, but boy, the old Genesis, come on, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want that. I need some gym music, and I've got to be like, yo, I'm not even that angry anymore. I can't even give you that. And then you've got people who have kind of grown with me and seen like the whole transition, and they're just like, yo, this is exactly what I need right now. It's exactly what I need, because I've been going through this with you. We're all growing. We're all moving forward. We've gone from the place where we rolled into the club and it was all of us. Like, we've gone from being there, now our kids do that. Like, we can't be on the same, like, if you're 40 years old, yeah, and you're still on the same thing you were on when you were 20, then you've lost. Like, you're doing it wrong. And I don't mean to be that judgmental, but to me, that's the way I see it. It's like, you're supposed to grow. You're supposed to. I love the comments when it's like, yo, man, or like I'll put out a track or something, and people are like, right, this guy's mad old. It's like, yeah, do you know what? That's the goal, you know. Like, you're supposed to get old. Yeah. Like, you ain't supposed to die in your 20s. You're supposed to live your life and have more to say. It's a beautiful thing. So there's a lot of people who leave comments and say, like, yeah, the music really touched them. But then you will get people who are like, yeah, nah, you know what? I do like this, but can you come back and, you know what I mean, put the baggy jeans back on and go, you know what I mean, grow the dreads and go wild. And it's like, I can't, man. Like, I can't go back. Like, it's not me anymore, man. That young kid he's dead, man. He's like, he's done something. He's changed. He's evolved.
So that's the thing. Like, I do believe that music is timeless. And you know, there are a lot of artists that they get into the music industry, as you said, to take that risk, to make that big money, and you know, it can be very superficial, a lot of image and whatnot. I see you as an artist very raw, and you, like, would you correct me if I'm wrong? Is music something you're going to do forever? Because it's kind of like what I can see from speaking to you now.
Yeah, because music isn't what I do, it's who I am. So it's there was a point when I got into music for myself. So being around music as a kid, you're listening to music, you're just listening to what comes your way. Whatever your parents play, that's what you listen to. I remember my car, my uncle, what he plays, I listen to. Then there came a point at around 7, 8, 9 where I went, I like this. What these adults are doing over here is cool to me. And to me, in my mind, it was just like, oh, this is what cool adults do. They do that. That's what I'm going to do. So from that moment, that became almost my identity to be like, yo, this is who I'm going to be. So, and I've gone so long making music, and it's become so much part of me, something I just do for fun. Like, it don't even matter about the views and stuff. It used to matter about the views, but now there's something that's way more special when it's about real engagement. Like, so if 1 million people don't check your song, but one person messages you and says, yo, you know what, man, I was about to really end it, and I listened to your song, and like, it just changed my whole perspective. That is the reason I was put on this earth. Like, that's it. So all the other stuff don't even matter. And to me, that kind of engagement is what spurs me on. So I'm always going to make music, regardless of if it's for the masses or just for myself. It's a creative energy, man. I feel like that's what part of us as being humans really is, to create. Like, creative energy, that's what it is. Like, we add loads of other stuff to it. We put, now you got to, we're putting the numbers on it. And
we're always seeking like validation.
Yeah, but they ain't even it. Like, you're just supposed to create. It don't matter what you create. You're just supposed to create. Someone created this bottle. They designed this. Like, that's creation from nothing. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. So we put way more emphasis on what we get from it rather than what we put into it. But what you put into it is really the important part.
Yeah, I think that's really good, and it's inspiring for a lot of artists out there who, you know, they might end up giving up the passion for it because they're not getting that validation. But I did notice in one of your videos, I think is it Sleep Up Pick?
Yeah.
And the beginning of the video, the text that it says something like, I can't quote it, but it basically says something like, you not getting the, like, maybe because you haven't got a label or management, that you're not getting that recognition, and there's a sense of like frustration and kind of like you're sick of it. Do you want to like just kind of go into that a bit?
That's an ego thing. So like I said, the creation is what you make here, but what you get out of it comes down to, I'm human at the end of the day, right? So I might do something and someone else does something and they get way more praise, and you're just like, wait, I just did the same thing you did. How comes you're getting all that? So you're going to feel that. I feel like it's natural, it's human to have that frustration, and it's something you should let out, and it should be, you got to speak your truth. but it should never be how you judge yourself and what you do. It should never be a case of, okay, you did this, I did the same thing, you got the praise, now I'm going to stop doing it. That's where you go.
It's not your self-worth.
Nah, never that. So your thing should just be like, alright, that is what it is, man. And I feel someone put a post the other day and they were like, oh, what would you do if, you know, you've been working, making music for like a few years and you're not getting no views and boom, boom, boom. And I just messaged back saying, what would happen if you did it for 20 years? That's what I've been doing. I've been doing that for 20 years. Like being on a really small level. And I say, I've done a lot of stuff that a lot of people would be proud of and stuff. But if we talk about what mainstream numbers, I'm nowhere near that. Like, not even close. But it's at the same time, it's because I don't put the value in that. Like, the value comes from me making it. Like, once it goes out there, that's the what I got no control over that. I have no control over that. I put up a tweet the other day, and I was talking about how I used to think about death, and it's one of those things because over the last couple of years everyone's experiencing it, right? We're seeing it real close. And when I was young, I've never been scared to die. I've never been scared of death. I was always just like, oh, do you know what, man? I just don't want it to be long and painful and boom, 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 boom. I know this is really morbid, but then I was like, my thoughts have changed, you know, because I have no control over that. Why are you even thinking about it? The only thing you control is how you live. So focus on living rather than focus on what else happens, because other stuff is going to happen regardless. And it's the same with the creative outlet, with the music. Like, sometimes I'll make a song and I'll be like, yo, this song is gonna blow, man. Like, this is gonna, and I'll just have that little fantasy in my head, like, yeah, well, I know what's gonna happen, right? I'm gonna put it out, then it's gonna get 1 million views, and then the video's gonna drop, that's gonna go crazy, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, okay, that's cool to have a little fantasy, but that may not be the reality. At the same time, there's been songs that I put out and didn't care about at all, that I've done really well, went on to be on adverts, went on to be on movies, got me work, like all this kind of stuff. So it's just like,
there's no point.
No, it really isn't. Like, do the work, man. Do you love the work? Then do the work.
So, yeah, I just feel like there's so much people can take from what you're saying. And you mentioned to me before, you do youth work and things like that. What have you sort of got up to with that?
So I started doing youth work. I was a music practitioner, obviously, because I make music. So what I would do, I'd go into schools and we do music workshops. From that, I went on to working with different organisations, running their music sessions, and just kind of working with young people who have an interest in music, and really just kind of not even really giving them guidance, just kind of pointing them in the right direction a little bit, and just saying, yeah, you know, and kind of showing them what it can be. And really, at the heart of it, what you're doing is really just showing or working with a young person and telling them, yo, you're good, you know, and giving them encouragement that they've never had. Like, they never had anyone to say to them, you're good at something. And that in itself can just change the trajectory of where they're going in life. And I always say, like, you don't have to do, the thing you do isn't that important, but just do something. So it doesn't matter what your creative outlet is, but just have a creative outlet, and that's going to stop you from doing a whole load of stupid stuff. I never got involved in a lot of stupid stuff when I was younger, because I was either playing basketball or making music. Those were my focuses. So nobody could pull me out of my focus. No one could say to me, yo, Jen, let's go hang out in the park and drink, because I'd be like, is there a microphone there? Then I'm not going to be there. Like, what are we doing? That's not my the mission. So by giving these young people just something that doesn't involve anybody else, it's just them. What are you interested in? Then okay, cool. Here's a platform or some resources for you to be able to do that. And yeah, that's what I've been doing for, I'd say, probably now easily 5 years. Well, even before that, to be fair, like, I was doing the school stuff, but doing it at a level that I've been doing it for, but yeah, like 5 years.
That's really good. I feel like you're just such a, like, the way you are is very real, very genuine, and to me that can contradict with a lot of things about the music industry. Do you ever feel, in a sense, that that's kind of held you back of, you know, being so, like, authentic in yourself and not maybe moulding into a certain artist that... Or what do you think about that?
I think when I was younger, I definitely held that belief a lot stronger than I do now. I do believe that the music industry or the entertainment industry in general is predatory. So it's looking for what it can get. It's hard to get something from someone who knows himself. You can't push them, pull them. So there's not a lot you can really get from them. So I've always found myself in a position where people is a saying, Jamaican saying, "Duppy know who for frightened," yeah. So like they know who they can push around, who they can't push around. So there's certain people they're just not gonna work with. Again, that might be like me, might be an ego thing. It might be me kind of being almost narcissistic about how my self-importance as an artist. Maybe no one even thinks that way. Maybe it's just, yeah, you're right. You know what I mean? Maybe it's that. And as I get older, I even love that feeling. I even love that thought, because it's just like, maybe it ain't no big conspiracy. Maybe just you ain't really that good, man. Like maybe some people like your stuff, maybe some people don't. As simple as that. But there is an element of, I've been in meetings and almost, I don't know, man, almost every label in the country I've been in meetings with, and a lot of time it's just a case of you do way too much for yourself. There's not a lot we can add, and not only that, even the stuff you say, the things you write about, we don't think it's gonna be marketable. It's not.
So like mainstream or
it's not. It's like it don't appeal to, or they don't think it's. You know what it is. It's not even they don't think it would appeal to the kids. It's they don't really want that kind of stuff to appeal to the kids. So I feel like that is it. Is probably closer to the truth, but it's probably somewhere in the middle.
That's interesting. So as like a last thought, what would be your biggest kind of life advice as an artist for new artists coming into the game?
I'll give you two. I'll give you one practical and one more philosophical. The first one, the practical one, is get a job. So I spent so many years going, I'm not doing nothing unless it's music. I ain't working at Tesco, I ain't working at ASDA, I ain't working nowhere that's not to do with music. So what it meant is I put myself in a position where it was just really hard to just get normal things.
Like a lot of struggle, like
you want to get studio time. Studio time costs money. You want to get video shot, they cost money. You want to have anything you could think of in the music world costs money. If you have a job, you're cool. Like just do a normal job.
Then you can be more patient with yourself.
Exactly.
And relaxed,
100%. And you take the stress away. You can invest in yourself, and you're just in a much better position. So that I will say that's the number one thing. I see a lot of people a lot of guys really kill themselves because I get it as well. You're a rapper, yeah. You're cool. Everyone knows you. You don't want them seeing you in McDonald's. You got song on YouTube.
Pride though, innit? So
100%. Loud of pride. Don't worry about that. Like you'll be cool. Don't worry about pride. The second thing.
Wait, actually, before we go on to the second one, I wanted to ask: at what point do you think these artists should then quit the job? Like, what's the milestone of now's the time to focus on music? Until
the money matches, man. Like until the music can sustain itself, then you're in a really good position. So that took me ages to get to a point where, the music pays for itself now. That's cool. Now we're good. It does what it's supposed to do. That's cool. But I feel like what you don't want to do is put yourself in a position where you either can't make music or you have to make music. Those are the two places you don't want to be.
Because it's not going to be channeling that creative energy and
you kind of got to know yourself. Like we were speaking a bit earlier about publishing deals, and my publishing deal, like it's cool because it pays money and stuff, but at the same time it's work. So when they call me and say, "Yo, we need 8 songs," like I got to think of 8 songs.
Force them 8 songs out,
there's no, you know what I mean? So it's a case of you kind of got to know how you work. Where does your creativity come from, and what does it take for you to tap into that? When I've been doing this a long time. When I was younger, it took me a long time to have to go, oh, what do I want to write? Now it's automatic. I don't have to think about it. I can write a song right now. It doesn't. It's easy. I say this all the time. It's easier for me to make a song than it is for me to sleep. It takes me ages to go to sleep. It's long. Making a song I can do all day long. Like, it's not a problem. So really understanding how you work is important. So number 2, which is number 1A, really, number 1B, I would say know yourself. Like, for you to be an artist and tell your story, you kind of have to know your story, and you kind of have to know like what it is in you that makes you different from everybody else. Like, there's something in you that no one else has. Like, it's just you. And we go through this phase when we're young, when we're kids, we're just us, we're ourselves. Like, you know what I mean? We just do crazy stuff because we're just us. Then we go to school and we're like, okay, we need to kind of
mold ourselves, yeah.
By the time we hit high school, it's still a little bit in us, but high school will get it all out of you. High school, there's only a few people that are going to be themselves in high school. And then only like, for some reason, they're the cool kids that we go, oh, they can do what they want because they're the cool kid. They're just the kids who didn't realise, oh, what, we're supposed to conform. No, we're not doing that. So a lot of us, what happens by the time we leave high school, all the stuff that we thought was us is gone. We don't really remember it. And like I said, I work with young people, so I'll go into a class. How's everyone doing today? No one wants to talk. They don't want to even say how they're doing because they might say the wrong thing.
They want to hear what everyone else is doing, yeah.
How can you say the wrong thing? If I ask you how you are, how can you say the wrong answer to that? That's you. But you know what I mean? People are going to laugh or whatever. And it takes a while to get that back. So as an artist, the quicker you can get that back, the better you're going to be, because what's going to happen is you're going to listen and people are going to resonate with that thing that makes you, and it allows them to be them. And so I would say, just find out who you are and be yourself as much as you can.
I like that. So I know I already said that was meant to be last note, but I'm interested to know, what do you think about yourself, which is that like one thing that you know about yourself?
I just think I've got to a point where all my negatives are positives. I've learned to lean into the things that I think are negative. So all the things that I thought would hold me back, they're not. They're the things that at this moment still make me unique. They can be little. So this is so mad, yeah. So I remember being 28 years old and being like, I'm too old to do this, man. Like, I can't rap. I don't want to be in the rap world coming up to 30. I remember having a conversation with my boy, big up Nova, and I remember saying, yo, man, remember 30, you're out of this, right? Like, I ain't been 30 and rapping, are you mad? And just being like, you're going to be too old to do this. And even having a little time where it was like, I don't really want people to know how old I am. And then it changed. I decided, nah, do you know what? I'm going to lean into that. So I started doing these songs. Every birthday I would do a song. So I think it started when I was 33. And I do one every year. What song was it? That with 36 Chamber did really well. I had a song called 37, which is, I think at the moment, still my biggest played track on Spotify. And then I put out a Fall at 40, which was like the last one in the series. And the amount of people that just hit me up like, yo, that's just sick, man. And it's just like little things like that. Like, I always used to kind of, when I was young, when I was really young, I've always had grey hair. So I was born with it, I always had grey hair. And like, that would be the thing that kids would tease me about. And so as I got older, it was kind of a thing that I didn't really want like everyone to like know. When I had long dreads, I would dye my hair, whatever, and it would be covered all the time. Then there came a point where I was just like, nah, that's me, innit? Like, I'm just having my hair out. And like, on a daily basis, people come to me like, yo, bro, how did you get your hair like that? What, did you highlight it or what? That's cold, you know? I'm like, I was born like
it's a movement now.
Yeah, like, it's what it is, you know what I mean? And it's like, lean into the things that you think are your insecurities.
Like they could be your biggest asset.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's that whole thing, like, when you're scared of the monster under the bed, yeah, it's a big deal. When you look under the bed and you see there's no monster, then it has no power anymore. Or you look under the bed and you see there's a monster, you're like, what are you saying, bro, you good? Like, you need to find these things things in your life, that you think are either insecurities or you're scared of, and understand that these aren't really things for you to run from. These are part of your life. It is what it is. Embrace that and move with it. And again, all it is like everyone else is the same. Like, we all think that we're like super unique, but we're really not. We're kind of all going through a very similar thing, and we reflect, we see ourselves in other people. And you being yourself, all it does, it gives other people permission to go, do you know what? You're yourself, I'm going to be myself too. And even every time you get the knockback of people telling you, nah, don't do that, all it is because they're scared of who they are and they don't want to do it. It's like, if you decide, that, oh no, you ain't got to wear designer clothes anymore, you're just going to wear Primark, right? Cool, I think this is H&M. Right? I'm not wearing designer clothes anymore. The person who's with the designer clothes is going to go, man, you look like a tramp. Why is that? Because they just spent all the money on designer clothes. They need the validation. They're just like, yo, I spent £300 on a t-shirt, you spent £6 and you're telling me you feel alright. I can't have that. And that's all it is in life, is these little parts, these bits of us that people want to knock down because they don't have it in themselves. And you just got to be strong enough to be like, nah, I'm good, man. My t-shirt costs £6, I'm cool. You know what I mean? It is what it is.